Have you ever felt an unseen presence lurking in the shadows of your home? Imagine moving into a charming, rustic farmhouse nestled in the tranquil countryside of Harrisville. A fresh start, a new beginning. This was the dream of the Perron family, a modest clan of 7 who found themselves drawn to this idyllic haven. Little did they know, their dream was about to morph into a chilling nightmare. As the family settled into their new home, they began to notice peculiar occurrences. The air would suddenly drop to an icy chill, in rooms that moments before were warm and inviting. Unearthly noises would echo through the wooden halls, a symphony of whispers and creaks that seemed to emanate from the very walls of the house. And then there were the objects. Household items, once stationary, would inexplicably move, shifting positions as if propelled by invisible hands. At first, these incidents were dismissed as quirks of the old house. The cold spots were blamed on drafty windows. The strange noises were chalked up to the house settling. The moving objects? Perhaps a trick of the light, or the playful antics of the youngest Perron daughters. But as days turned into weeks, these explanations began to feel insufficient, almost laughable in their naivety. The real terror began when apparitions started to reveal themselves. Shadowy figures flickered in the corner of one's eye, only to disappear when confronted head-on. Faces materialized in mirrors, their expressions twisted into grotesque forms of sorrow and rage. The children were plagued by unseen entities at night, their sleep disturbed by chilling whispers and icy touches. The Perron family, once filled with hope and joy for their new home, now found themselves trapped in a chilling reality. Their dream farmhouse was not a haven, but a haunting ground. Their lives, once so ordinary, had been invaded by forces beyond their understanding. An ordinary family, living in an ordinary house, plagued by extraordinary events. But what if the unseen presence has a terrifying past? Let's delve into the murky history of the farmhouse that became a living nightmare. The farmhouse bore witness to myriad lives, but one name stands out: Bathsheba Sherman. A figure shrouded in suspicion and fear, Bathsheba was a former inhabitant of the farmhouse in the mid-19th century. Her life was tinged with rumors of witchcraft, a label that cast her into the shadows of society. Bathsheba's tale is one steeped in mystery and terror. Accusations of witchcraft were not uncommon in those times, but Bathsheba's case was particularly chilling. Stories whispered of the unimaginable horrors she inflicted, the most unsettling of which was the death of an infant under her care. The child was found with a needle impaled into its skull, an act so heinous that it led many to believe that Bathsheba had offered the child as a sacrifice to the devil. Could it be Bathsheba's tortured spirit that continues to haunt the farmhouse? The events that transpired in the house bear an eerie resemblance to Bathsheba's sinister past. The unexplained phenomena, the unseen presence, the feeling of constant dread. One could argue that these are echoes of Bathsheba's malevolent actions from over a century ago. The haunting was not just a random occurrence. It was as if the house was under a curse that bore the signature of Bathsheba's wicked deeds. The chilling events that unfolded in the house seemed to mirror the darkest chapters of Bathsheba's life. The inexplicable happenings, the terrifying apparitions, the constant presence of an unseen entity. It was as if Bathsheba's malevolent spirit was reliving her life of sin and torment through the haunting. The family who lived in the farmhouse was not merely dealing with a haunted house. They were trapped in Bathsheba's dark past, a past that refused to rest, a past steeped in darkness, now casting its shadow on the present. When your home turns against you, how do you fight back? Imagine your haven, the place where you feel most safe, suddenly becoming a battleground. That's precisely what happened to the Perron family in the small, quiet town of Harrisville. Their life turned into a chilling nightmare, a struggle for survival against unseen forces. The family was haunted, not by a single entity, but by an entire spectral army. The roguish spirits played tricks, moved objects, and created chilling drafts. But as time wore on, their antics grew increasingly malevolent. The family members were harmed physically, with scratches appearing on their bodies and objects being thrown at them. The girls, all 5 of them, were the most affected. Their beds would shake violently in the middle of the night. Their hair pulled, bodies levitated. The terror was palpable, the fear visceral. Sleepless nights turned into anxiety-ridden days. And then there was the mother, Carolyn, who bore the brunt of the haunting. She was tormented by a particularly spiteful spirit, a woman named Bathsheba, who saw Carolyn as a threat to her territory. The spirit's attacks on Carolyn were brutal, leaving her bruised and battered. But amidst the terror, the Perron family found strength in unity. They refused to let the haunting tear them apart. Instead, they leaned on each other, providing emotional and physical support. They lived through the terror, the uncertainty, and the physical harm, always together, always united. The family's struggle was real, their fear palpable. But it was their unity that kept them going, their love for each other that gave them the strength to face each chilling day and each terrifying night. They held onto each other, onto hope, onto the belief that they could survive this nightmare. Their courage was inspiring, their resilience commendable. They didn't let the haunting break them. Instead, they faced it head-on, with bravery and determination. Their home was a battlefield, but they were not willing to surrender. In the face of terror, the family stood united. What happens when the hunters of the supernatural step into the scene? Enter Ed and Lorraine Warren, the renowned paranormal investigators. In the world of the supernatural, their names ring clear as a bell. Ed, the only non-ordained demonologist recognized by the Catholic Church, and his wife Lorraine, a gifted clairvoyant, were no strangers to the unseen. They had investigated over 10,000 cases, but the case of the Harrisville haunting was something that would test their mettle like never before. The Warrens arrived at the beleaguered house in Harrisville, armed with their knowledge, faith, and a determination to help the distressed family. They began their daunting task with methodical precision, delving into every nook and cranny of the house. Their investigation was thorough, their senses alert for any signs of the supernatural. As they sifted through the evidence, the Warrens uncovered chilling details. The cold spots, the unexplainable sounds, the moving objects. Every piece of evidence pointed to a powerful, malevolent entity residing in the house. The entity was not just a simple ghost, but a demonic presence, one that had latched onto the family with a terrifying intensity. But the Warrens were not deterred. They were resolute in their mission to free the family from the clutches of this malevolent spirit. Their determination was like a beacon of hope in the darkest night, a promise of a struggle against the unseen. They devised a plan, a strategy to confront the entity, to challenge it, and to drive it away from the family's lives. The Warrens' intervention was a turning point in the haunting of Harrisville. Their arrival marked the beginning of a battle, an epic struggle between the human spirit and the supernatural. They brought not just their skills and expertise, but a ray of hope that things could change, that the family could reclaim their home, their lives from the unseen menace. The battle against the unseen had begun. When faced with the unthinkable, how does one survive? This question echoes in the hearts of those who have been pushed to the edge of their wits, their sanity dangling by a thread. It was no different for the beleaguered family in Harrisville. The final confrontation was a testament to the power of faith and resilience. The family, backed by the unwavering support of the Warrens, stood their ground against the malevolent entity that had held them in its icy grip. The house, once a symbol of warmth and love, had become a battlefield, a chilling stage for this last stand. The Warrens, experts in the realm of the supernatural, took charge, their voices ringing out with authority and determination. Their words, steeped in conviction, seemed to pierce the oppressive darkness, giving the family a glimmer of hope. The entity, however, did not go down without a fight. It fought back with a fury born of desperation, a chilling reminder of the power it once wielded. Yet the family held on, their fear replaced by a steely resolve. They countered the entity's onslaught with a strength they never knew they possessed. It was a battle of wills, of light against dark, of survival against annihilation. And then, as quickly as it had begun, it was over. The house, once filled with an oppressive gloom, seemed to breathe again. The entity, once a formidable foe, was no more. It had been vanquished, its malevolent presence replaced by a palpable sense of relief and triumph. The family had survived. They had faced the unthinkable and emerged victorious. Their ordeal had tested their resolve, their unity, and their courage. But in the end, they managed to reclaim their home, their sanctuary. The story of their survival is a testament to the indomitable human spirit. It serves as a reminder that, even in the face of the unknown, courage can and does prevail. It shows us that when we stand together, when we refuse to let fear rule us, we can overcome even the most terrifying of adversities. In the face of the unknown, the courage of the human spirit prevailed.